A few months ago, Pastor Nathan reached out to me about a great opportunity. He had a friend who was working on a handbook that would help youth preachers and their mentors prepare a sermon to use in a congregational setting. Pastor Nathan thought that I might be interested in testing that out with one of our youth. And so I reached out to one of our high school seniors, Margaret Lekan, who was eager to take on this opportunity. She and I are one pair out of about a dozen pairs who have been testing out this manual prior to its publication. We've been meeting together for the last 2 months, working through the chapters of the handbook and preparing a sermon for this Sunday. It has been a delightful process for both of us, a welcome distraction from some of the challenges of the coronavirus. We have practiced safety both with the coronavirus and in our safe church policies by meeting with masks and socially distanced and always in public with other adults present. And I am delighted that this morning I get to welcome Margaret Lekan to give us a sermon as a guest preacher. I will let Maggie introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Margaret Lekan. I'm 17 and I'm a senior at Kalamazoo Central High School. I have gone to this church for as long as I can remember, and I am currently looking at colleges to go and study something along the lines of chemistry. Last year, I reached a point where I bit off a bit more than I could chew. This includes, but is not limited to, the school play, trumpet lessons, 2 AP classes, National Honor Society, 2 solo and ensemble pieces, mentoring and volunteering at Indian Prairie. Acting with my friends, seeing improvements in my playing and learning new topics felt so rewarding. I was able to take part in everything I enjoyed, seeing my growth. But as a result, my days were scheduled down to the minute, and time to myself or with friends usually weren't in them. I was doing so many things that I had signed up for, but I wasn't happy. I felt completely alone without constantly talking to my friends and seeing them, but I struggled to find the time. Filling up gaps with phone calls or quick visits, I was able to see people and talk to them about what was happening in my life and my concerns with my workload. While they agreed that I should not put as much on my plate, they helped me. They assured me that I would be able to make it through and offered help when I needed it. I started to enjoy what I was doing again. I was able to find time between rehearsals to talk with friends, tell them what was worrying me, and share excitement for what my work was building up to. All ended with a successful show, some of my best grades, and some new medals. This time in my life is probably the closest I have come to feeling how Mary felt on her way to visit Elizabeth. She was young, around 14 years old, 3 years younger than I am now, and alone, scared of what was to come, and with no support until she talked with Elizabeth. Her mood shifted greatly, with assurance that her pregnancy was good news. She was able to find joy in her situation rather than sorrow, seeing herself as blessed rather than cursed. For you have looked with favor upon your lowly servant, and from this day forward all generations will call me blessed. Mary talks about herself being blessed, but speaks more about God and God's fight for what is right in the second half of the Magnificat. When she looks beyond her own situation, Mary speaks of what God has done for the people, for the poor. There is so much power behind Mary's words that people have felt threatened by the song. In the last 100 years, the Magnificat has been banned in 3 countries, India, Guatemala, and Argentina. The words of this section have been used by poor Guatemalan citizens and the mothers of the Plaza de Mayo to inspire hope for change and bring people together. God has done good, the kind of good we aspire to do. You have scattered the proud in their conceit. You have deposed the mighty from their thrones. A good example of this line would be someone currently in power who will be leaving their position soon. America is no stranger to the abuse of government powers by leaders. and the people have fought to stop this and hold them accountable for their actions. This was seen in the 2020 election, where the people spoke, voted, and fought for who they wanted, and were able to bring someone else into office. Many other countries have seen the cycle of power where it ends up being abused by the leaders. I'm currently learning about Russia in my comparative government class, and I saw this cycle happen multiple times with different leaders. While these fights against the powerful were more violent than the American example, they hold the same sentiment in what the people fought for. God has taught us to love those around us and fight for love, and fight for those in need. To have this, we need to have people in power fighting for those as well. Throughout the world, there are many areas where we could put our energy. The Black Lives Matter movement rose in prevalence this summer, but the fight for equality is far from over, especially in America. Gun violence continues to be an issue, especially in our city of Kalamazoo. Many people are struggling due to the pandemic, whether it be financially or otherwise. There has and will be improvements as people exercise their right to vote and put good people into positions of power. Even if it does not seem like there is much you can do, there are safe ways that you can help in Kalamazoo. Our politicians represent us and our fights. Write to our representatives. Express the need for legislation to protect equality. Racism is a very systematic issue that requires changes in the system. I love Kalamazoo for its diverse and loving community. We need to do all that we can to protect our neighbors as they face discrimination and violence in our world. Do what you can to help those in need. December is often the time we feel the need to give. Things like donating to Loaves and Fishes or clothes drives. Remember that help is still needed past the holidays, and small contributions, no matter how small, are helpful. Improvement is possible, and we can help bring it to Kalamazoo. Be safe, do what you can for your community, and make it better for everyone in it. We are not alone. God fights beside us as we work to make changes in Kalamazoo and beyond.